Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast, the world's leading authority on childcare marketing, mindset, expansion, and profitability. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Childcare Genius Marketing. Let Childcare Genius Marketing help you get fully enrolled and fully staffed. Visit childcaregenius.com for more details. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast our hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre.
Welcome to episode 93 of the Childcare Genius Podcast.
We're your hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre, and thank you so much for joining us today. We got an exciting episode with Jess and Spencer Lloyd. They're owners, multi-center owners from Utah, and we're excited to have them on. They got a great story, great background, amazing background, and some really cool challenges that you're going to learn about that they face with their school. And they're also going to talk about some secret sauce of working together. So you're going to love this episode. But before we begin, we just want to remind you that we have a couple tickets left for our Childcare Genius Leverage Conference in Jamaica. We only have a handful left, and we'll probably sell out by the end of May. But we still want to go. Tickets are on sale at childcaregenius.com. Go to the conference tab and hit leverage, and you can get tickets to our amazing conference. We'd love to meet you and have a good time on a working vacation and totally tax deductible vacation. We get to hang out with other owners and make a lot of friends. A lot of fun. So again, we're going to be meeting with Jess and Spencer Lloyd today. We've been coaching them for a while now and really just love this couple. Fell in love with them at our Jamaica conference last year. Got to spend some time with them, and really, you'll love this interview. There's something special here. So let's get Jess and Spencer on the line. Hey, Jess and Spencer, welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast. How are you guys today?
We're doing well. How are you?
Good.
Awesome. Things are great up here in Maine. How are things in beautiful Utah?
Finally having some spring. So winter lasts a long time in Utah. So we're excited to have it de-thaw a little bit.
Yeah, we've been to Utah in the wintertime, and not our favorite. Beautiful, but cold.
Yep.
And we're happy now. So summer is just about here, and we got our boat on the lake, and I just can't wait to enjoy the rest of the summer. It'll go quick though. You have short summers like we do.
Yes, hot but
Well,
short.
we've been working together for a while now, and I've been dying to have you guys on the podcast. And thank you for coming on. But we want to hear more about you. You have an interesting story. Can you tell us a little more about your background, like what you guys each did before you got into the crazy childcare business?
Sure. We actually met in music therapy school in our undergrad degree. So both of us are music therapists. And then after graduating music therapy, I was a Head Start preschool teacher for a little bit. And Spencer worked at a treatment center, and they had an on-site childcare. And I didn't love my job at Head Start. And so he was like, hey, like maybe my wife could come and be the director here. They were looking for a director. And I thought, like, I mean, I could try it. I could do it. And so I went and applied for the job, and I got the job. And so then we kind of started working together early on, because we worked for the same company. When I walked into as the director, the center was illegally unlicensed. So they said they were caring for family members, and they were not. And so I was able to get it licensed. It was also just a big money pit. It was always on the chopping block for the company. They were like, oh, this is such a liability. This is just so much. Like, we don't want to have this. But it was a really big attraction for potential employees. So they hired me to come on and to improve it. I had a lot of fun doing that. In the process, I had a few kids, got an MBA, and then the company that I was working for had some shady business practices and actually went under. And so, yeah. And so then, since I had written grants for all of the equipment, I was able to take the equipment and start my own thing. So that's how I got here.
Nice.
Wow. Now tell me what is music therapy for? What you work with certain children or adults or both?
It's actually cool. It's broad. So I definitely focus more on children. In the past, I worked at the big children's hospital here that serves like all the surrounding states, called Primary Children's Medical Center. I was a music therapist there, and I would go and I would help the children relax. I would help them have some degree of normalcy. We would play. I did procedural assists. Spencer went completely the other direction. We're very opposite in our field.
Not completely. No, so after we did our music therapy thing, I was the music therapist at this treatment center where they were providing, the kind of employee childcare. And I think that we were probably primed in a way to get into childcare because, we were first kind of interested in this helping profession of music therapy and wanting to connect with people and make a difference that way. I later went on and got my master's in social work for kind of the same reasons. And it's just, I think looking back now, it's really interesting how we sort of fell into this. Me suggesting to my boss at the time, who was also going to be the director or I should say the supervisor over the childcare, suggesting to her like, hey, my wife would be really good at this, and I'll have her apply. And that's kind of what started it all, is just me coming home and saying, hey, they're looking for a director of this childcare. Are you interested? And that's just where it started. But I think at the heart, it's we were both in this, hey, we really like helping other people. We really like trying to make that difference. I don't think either one of us ever saw ourselves saying like, it's childcare, that's what we're going to do, that's how we're going to make the difference. It really just happened. And yeah, the timing was not great. The way we first started, and we can probably talk about that more, but it was rough to start. It was not the best timing, but it really was the best opportunity.
Yes.
So
That's amazing. It's so neat that I've seen so many stories where people accidentally get into the childcare business.
mhm.
Our story, your story. I mean, so many different. Nobody ever seems like they grow up in their teens. They always wanted to be. It's been their dream. It just never happens. You just accidentally,
Yeah.
and one suggestion here, and idea there, and all of a sudden, boom, you're a multi-center owner. And like, how did I get here?
Yeah, it happens.
Tell our audience about your childcare centers and why they're different from other centers in your area.
I think we've already kind of started to speak to that a little bit. Just with our background in mental health, it's really important to us to make a really good place where children are safe and really cared for. Our own daughter had some developmental delays when I was a director of the childcare I talked about before. And her toddler teacher worked with her every single day, and she got her to crawl on site. And that's kind of the mission, and that's why we're here. Every parent deserves a team, because it's hard. It's really hard no one tells you how hard it is to have kids and to then raise them to be good humans. So we experienced that as parents, where someone cared about our kid like their own, and that's what we really strive to do in our business.
And I
love
think
that.
with both of our experiences in mental health, Jessica worked at the hospital and saw the worst of the worst, kids in accidents, kids being abused. I worked at residential treatment centers with adolescents, and just saw like what can happen when kids don't have the best opportunity or don't have the best upbringing. I worked at our state psychiatric facility for 10 years with adults, and you also saw, what would, or I really wondered, could these individuals' lives have turned out maybe a little bit differently if they would have had a good, start from the beginning? And so I think we really wanted to create something that could help even just a little bit in the early years of a child's life. That I think we both recognize that, just how important it is. And if you know Utah, if you know Utah's culture at all, Utah is not famous for having great childcares. They're not famous for having enough childcare or even encouraging the predominant culture to put your child in childcare, because the predominant culture says you should be a stay-at-home mom, and childcare is bad. It's a bad thing. It's better that your kids are at home with you. And that might be okay for some people. But in today's economy and over the past couple decades, the economy has really forced both parents into the working field. And so childcare has become more and more necessary and kind of less demonized, I think. But the quality of centers is still trying to catch up here in Utah. So there may be, a lot of options, but I don't know that there's a lot of great options. And we knew that at the time when we started. And we wanted to kind of change that. We want to say, what, childcare can be high quality. It can be a really great and positive thing. It doesn't have to be this scary hole in the wall that you reluctantly and fearfully take your child to. So we knew that we didn't want to be that. We wanted to be something that was good, that parents wanted to bring their kids to, that the kids thrived at.
Love that. And you're right. I read a story that said for every dollar you put in early childhood education programs, you get a $17 return back by kids not being incarcerated when they grow up and not, problems on society. That money spent early on in childcare and early childhood education will come back and pay massive dividends. And you saw the other side when you don't have good early intervention, which is kind of, it's eye-opening. And I see a lot of kids today going astray. If somebody would have intervened early on, you wouldn't have that. So let's pivot a little bit about your centers themselves. When you first started, first of all, how many schools do you have right now?
We have 3.
You have 3 schools. What are some obstacles you faced when trying to open any one of the 3 schools? We like to talk about challenges and how we overcame them.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest challenge is the municipalities and the requirements of cities. I just had no idea. I was just getting ready to start a business and I was so excited and I'm going to make this great place. Oh, and you need fire suppression sprinklers, and that's 120 grand. But you've already signed your lease and your landlord isn't going to help to pay for that. So good luck. That was probably what our first biggest hurdle, and was big. I ended up being able to get an SBA loan that we paid off in 9 months. And so right out of the gate, we ran profitable within our first month of operating. And we haven't really been in the red since. But every single location has similar challenges where you go in for a business license, and then it's like, oh, we can get your building up to code. We'd love to do that for you. And so then they give you a list of requirements, and sometimes they're really big. And I've learned a lot about relationships with city officials. I've learned how to sit in those meetings and represent myself in a good way and not be afraid and nervous. I've also
That's been a challenge itself,
Yeah.
though, as
Yes.
especially in the culture in Utah, being taken seriously as a childcare owner.
especially as a woman childcare owner,
As a woman.
people kind of are like, oh, she's the daycare lady.
Yeah.
So in general, that's another challenge, is being taken seriously. Even some of my competitors, sometimes there's one competitor in Utah that's really, really big, and he does like really great things. But yeah, I would say another challenge has been getting the leadership team that we need. I think making sure that there's a really good fit and that it works for the center. That's been an ongoing quest for us. Would you add anything?
Yeah. I mean,
Anything else?
the same thing as probably everyone else says, right? Like staffing is always a challenge. That's always been hard. But it's also, you know, we had never run a business before. We had never owned a business. We made all the mistakes. We're still making tons of mistakes. But you know, we're a little wiser now, and I mean, it really is due to Jessica's tenacity and grit that we survived those first couple of years. Because I wasn't I was working my other job full time. I mean, I had a full time, you know, other job, so I was only coming to help on weekends, painting this or trying to fix this, or I wasn't involved for the first few years. So it was heavy. And what we didn't mention or go more into detail was when we first started, we had our 2-year-old daughter that Jessica mentioned previously with kind of these health challenges, and we had 6-month-old twins. So we had 3 kids, 2 and under. I had just kind of gotten a new position in my job that required me to travel all over the state. So I was in a new job. I was, you know, out traveling more, not at home as often, and we have these three little kids. So it was a huge challenge. So we're
You wonder
still
how she did it
we're
all.
maybe not as sane as we once were, but we're still here. But I mean, it really was. I mean, Jessica, and I think a lot of owners can relate to this. You know, she was doing the job of 5, 6 people.
Yep.
You know, I mean, she was everything. She was doing everything, and it was hard.
You can relate, right?
Yes, for sure.
It's funny what you do. See, the people who do things that people unwilling to do will eventually have things people are unwilling, you know, unable to get.
Yeah.
And you talked about this really going above and beyond, and you know, people taking you seriously. I know exactly what you're talking about. And here's the cool thing, though, and people might be listening to this saying, "Oh, I don't want to deal with all that regulatory hassle stuff." It's a level playing field, meaning your competitors have to go through the
Right.
same hurdles you do. And sometimes the more hurdles there are, the less people that'll go through them. So it makes it so the people that are that learn to navigate the system can really thrive. So if you have tough and grit and you have patience, just you'll persevere in the long run. And it, you know, as I say, success is a level playing field. Everybody has that same ability, but not everybody wants to go through those challenges.
Right.
Yeah.
And the difference between a winner and a loser is the loser gave up and didn't want to even face those challenges. And you guys, you know, have overcome that. So congratulations to you. And Jessica, I don't, with 3 kids under 2, we've been there. So we know what you're like. And my daughter does it now with 4 kids under 10s. I don't know how she does it. Hats off to you. So good job.
Thank
For
you.
sure.
How has coaching helped you grow your business?
When you do the job of 5 people, you're not good at it. Because you can't be 5 people. And so coaching in general has helped me to really realize, like, it really helped me on my mindset, because, you know, I come from a farm. I come from a really hardworking background where it's like, well, roll your sleeves up and get it done, and you can do anything, which I appreciate. And it's also a detriment because sometimes I don't see that I'm taking on too much, I'm doing too much. And it's nice to have a coach that's like, hey, I think you have somebody that could do this. Simmer down. Yeah. Somebody could help you with that. Didn't you hire someone? Yeah. Those really helped me with my mindset.
What about
Yeah.
you, Spencer? Has she chilled a little bit?
She's not trying to do the job of 5 people
I'm
anymore.
not.
Let's say that. Yeah, I think
Good.
there's always that transition from, you know, early on in your business where you kind of have to do everything, because the funds aren't there to hire it out or whatnot, to then being able to hire more individuals, becoming a little bit more, you know, fiscally able to do those things. But then you have to learn to let go of everything that you used to control. And you have to realize that in doing so, it may not be done the exact way that you wanted it, or it may not be done as well as you could do it. So I think that's also a challenge. It's been a challenge for both of us. We're still learning that, to be okay with it not being done exactly your way, and also realizing that, you know, it actually could be done a better way. It's going to be different, but it doesn't mean it's not going to be as good as what you would do.
I'm a perfectionist and I like control.
Yeah.
It's hard for, when I was being coached, it was a challenge to have, and that was the biggest thing I had to overcome was imperfection.
Yeah. Well, when
And
you're passionate about it, you want it done well.
yes,
So.
yes. That's the thing. The more passionate you are as an owner, the harder it is to let go and let somebody else do something when you could do it that much better in your mind. But you realize once you do let go, like, wow,
Yeah.
boy, they did it better than me.
I used to have the opinion that why would I pay somebody to do something I can do myself?
Mm.
And now I have the opinion of why would I do that? I can pay somebody else to do that.
Exactly.
Sounds like you can coach.
We would work 7 days a week. We would be
Yeah.
doing maintenance all weekend long. You guys can relate. You've been there.
Mhm.
And our kids we dragged along with us. One of the things I regret is, giving up my weekends with kids so we could do weekends with kids at the center doing painting and maintenance. Okay. Of course, I say maintenance. I put me in that loop, but Carol's the one doing the maintenance. I was up in the office doing payroll because I don't fix anything. I break it and Carol fixes it. She'd have a dryer taken apart. I would be up doing payroll, trying not to break a nail in
I was
my
fixing the
computer.
screen today.
You was fixing
I
what?
fixed the screen
Oh
today.
yeah, I'm out there and she's on the deck on a chair, wobbly, second story, mind you, second story, 3 feet over a railing. I'm like, what are you doing? Like you're gonna go over that railing. I'm not ready to be a widower yet, right? I mean, not yet. Give me 20, 25 more years at least. Like, oh my God, I almost had a heart attack. And she got mad at me because I yelled. I'm like, I don't want you, I don't want to have to you would probably be in traction. I'd have to change your diapers, and we're not going there. Not yet anyway.
But this is the woman that jumped off the stratosphere in Vegas.
Yeah, but she had a rope. Like there was no safety alarm in Spencer.
So next time, Carol, have a harness. Yeah.
That's the problem. You have a fearless wife. She did not see the fear. I see the danger, right? Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, so where are we heading? So 3 years from now, paint a picture. What are some of your long-term goals? What do you want to do?
Sure. I feel like right now we're kind of in growth mode. We originally had 5 centers, and we've consolidated them down to 3. So the 2 centers that we got rid of were small centers, really hard to run and to kind of function. And so we are consolidating into 3. And we've increased capacity at one of them, and then we are under contract and have purchased another building that we're renovating right now, which will increase our capacity as well. So I think in the next, honestly, it's been a lot, and in my style, it's been all in 6 months. So it's so I think we're gonna just kind of focus on getting those centers full and really work on staffing with those. Stabilizing. Yeah. Because it was a lot.
Carol and I've done the consolidation before. If a center's not making enough profit, it's just not worth your time.
Right.
That's the thing. So we look at, sometimes closing a center is a strategic move. If you have multiple schools too, you could actually be more profitable by closing. So, it's not a bad strategy. It is not a failure in any way, shape, or form. It can actually be a successful strategy in smaller market to consolidate. We've done it before. Just move the children over to another school where you pay less rent. It could be a smart move. People are listening to that wondering why. It's just, you see McDonald's close. I've seen McDonald's close, and how much millions they spend on marketing. Sometimes they put one in the wrong spot. Well, I put 2 or 3 locations in the wrong spot. And I had to move them or it closed them down. Like you don't hit a home run every time.
We didn't have a coach to say, check the market.
Yeah, do your marketing research. I didn't even know what marketing research was. just expand. I can have 100 locations and that was my mindset.
Somebody said, hey, I'll buy this building for you if you want to put a center there. We're like, sure.
He put up all the money. It's like
Mm.
if I'd have done the market research, I would realize, people don't want to bring their kids in the rural. They want the home daycare in that rural market. So again, we didn't know what we didn't know. And now we know. Like, okay, learning experience.
Yep.
And
All
we've
right,
experienced a lot less stress since closing those other two. It's a lot less stressful. I would do it again in a heartbeat. It wasn't actually a negative thing for me. I was excited to do it. And our profitability has increased, I think, by 13%.
Yep.
It's again, when people look at it, they would think, oh, you failed in that. It's like, no, they don't realize it actually is a successful business strategy that a lot of big companies do as well.
Mhm.
I've seen Walmart's close and go to a different location. It's strategically move to a different location. It's kind of the same thing.
Yep.
Sure.
You attended our Leverage Conference with us in Jamaica last year and our CCG Live conference in Vegas. What did you get out of each conference?
I mean, Jamaica, you get lots out of Jamaica. You get
Come
really
on.
hot in Jamaica. I got real hot in Jamaica. I think so. The Jamaica one was the first conference. I mean, I knew of Brian and Carol. Jamaica was the first conference that I had been to of yours. I've gone to a lot of other various conferences in childcare. And that conference was really pivotal for me because of the organization of it. It was very easy to follow. There was pre-conference recording so that felt like I was ready for the content that was presented. I think the biggest, I can't necessarily say I learned this, and this. I would say the biggest takeaway that I had was that mindset piece of working not in my business, but on it and spending that time and also relaxing and networking with people. It was really great to get to meet the coaches there and a lot of like-minded owners. That part was really good. I would say in Vegas, since we're so close to Vegas, we brought a lot of our team, and that was a really good thing. They were so excited. Our tours have gotten so much better. They're very motivated to get feedback on tours. They've been asked to be secret shopped. They're really hungry to learn and to grow. And I have tried to get that fire from them and I cannot. So thank you for getting that fire.
That makes me happy because I did the session on tour strategy. That makes me really happy that they paid attention. That was great.
They did.
Spencer, how'd you like that? Having a lot of men around in the Leverage Conference.
Yeah, I think there's others out there that are kind of have my similar story where the husbands weren't on board from the beginning, or I mean they were supportive but not in the business with their wife. But then later realized, wow, my wife is really good at this. I almost swore. I don't know if I can swear on this podcast, but I'll try to edit myself here. And I mean, that's when I quit my job and said, okay, let's do this. We can really make something out of this. You're really good at this, and I can see the potential of this. But from Jamaica, we signed up to join your guys' coaching program. So that's what we got out of Jamaica is we really saw the value in it, especially after going to other conferences and just realizing, okay, these guys have a similar heart, right? It's not just about trying to make money. It's more than that. And I think if you're in childcare to make money, it's not enough. I mean, it's fine if you can make the money and if that's what you want to do. For us, it's not enough just to make money. I mean, we can make money lots of different ways. And I think we really saw that in you guys and in other couples there that it's not just about that. There is a lot more to it, and also here are practical, down to earth, real ways on how to improve your business.
Awesome. And how to have a legacy. We're not going to be here forever. But what we do while we're here can live on for generations, with our children and with our business. And, opening a McDonald's just wouldn't do that. It's not a legacy. Here, we're actually changing, we're raising these little humans that hopefully will lead a good society, a better society than we have today.
Yeah.
I'm hoping our little humans that we're creating
Hopefully.
do better than we did as a generation. And we're hoping, praying anyway.
Mhm.
So you have to work together now. So I know there's usually challenges. I know Carol and I, we've been working together and not working. We've gone off and on as she homeschooled kids. We've taken control of the business back and forth. Working together, what are some of the secrets so you don't kill each other while you're working or going to get at each other's throat? Any secret sauce?
I've answered first every time. So I feel like
That's our secret sauce, is letting her answer first every time.
yes, yes, it is.
Yeah. No, I think for me, especially, I don't try to presume that I know better. She's been doing this longer than I have. I recognize that I'm not going to come in and, say there's a new sheriff in town and try to change a bunch of stuff or try to even take the lead. Like I recognize that Jessica's strength is in being the top leader. That's not a position I want anyways. So it's very easy for me to, kind of take a step back and defer to her. And that's not to say that we never do any of my ideas, or we never, Jessica's also good at getting my opinion on things. We've kind of learned about each other that, Jessica is the good leader out in front, and I'm kind of almost act as like a counselor behind the scenes. She'll shoot ideas off of me and say, what do you think about this? Or I'll offer my opinion, even if, it's not solicited at times. But so it really is finding each other's strengths, letting each other do what each other's good at, and not expecting the other person to be just like you and to fill the same exact role. I think that's worked for us.
Yeah. I mean, you said it well. I don't have a lot else to add. I think everybody hears the phrase "stay in your lane" a lot, and I think that's good advice. And I feel like in the beginning we were trying to stay in our lanes, but we didn't have the right lanes.
We have too many lanes.
And
crossing
so
traffic all over the place.
when you feel like your partner isn't necessarily like that you can help them, you're going to go help them because you're in a relationship as well. And so like when I see him struggle, I'm like, ooh, I could help with that. And then I'm crossing lanes and it doesn't work, or he's coming over into my lane. So over the years, we've started to realize like, okay, like Spencer said, strengths, like just play to strengths. Like one of my weaknesses is always having to be the one who like checks everything. It just makes me mad. And so we've actually hired that job out because it doesn't help him either. So yeah, I think using a strengths-based approach has helped us.
I love what you said, Spencer, about some of the times the lanes crossing in. It reminded me of an analogy. Carol and I were in Bahamas last week, and they have these roundabouts, traffic circles, roundabouts. And it's sort of like, you're staying in your own lane. Every once in a while, you hit that traffic circle where the lanes kind of merge together. And that happens. Sometimes we have to work on the project together. The secret is to get off the roundabout and back into your own lanes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we've had a lot of crashes in our lanes over the years. And Spencer, I should have listened to you earlier on and get your advice about letting go, because Carol's been running our company for a couple of years and has never been better and more profitable. If I would have just gave her control so much sooner, I'd have a lot less headaches and probably a lot more money in my pocket, because she runs a great company. I have that control issue that I had for many, many years. Jess, you could relate with me there. So we have figured it out though. And now she's so good at it. Am I right?
Yeah. And the big thing is communicating. If he's in my lane, I say, get out of my lane.
Yeah. And before it would bother me, now I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
But she comes in once in a while, she'll go, can I get your opinion on something? Or she'll say, I just need to vent and I don't need you to fix it.
Yeah.
Like there's things I know when I can respond and whatnot. And we've got that figured out. We try to teach it, but I'm so glad you guys have, Galden, you guys got a great working relationship. I've got some couples that are figuring out the friction, you guys
Yeah.
got it dialed in pretty well.
If you had it all to do over again, would you do anything differently?
We have talked about this before, and this is a tricky question because, like sometimes you can't learn without making all the mistakes. I mean, sometimes that's the only way and the best way to learn. So like I said before, we made a ton of mistakes. I mean, I wish we would have had more money, from the beginning, so we could have done more stuff earlier on and not, worked ourselves to death early on. But we didn't, and most people don't, and that's just the way you got to do it for the first couple of years. But I think that having more of our policies, procedures, more of the kind of organizational stuff in place, that would have been super helpful. I also think that, we were an island just by ourselves for far too long. I wish we could have connected with other owners, talked to more people sooner, even if it was just other business owners, not necessarily in childcare. Because I mean, we were just doing things the best we knew how and the best we could, but I think we really could have gleaned some helpful information by talking to other people and not being so isolated.
It is lonely
Mhm.
in the early days, especially, and you feel like everybody's out to get you, municipalities, licensing, everybody. It is very isolating, and that's the power of working as a team, because without that other person, it's really lonely without having. And I've had to deal with clients where one of the spouse members wasn't even on board. That's a bigger challenge when you're facing a challenge from licensing and the spouses. You got to deal with them on the other side. So kudos to you for figuring that piece out. And you're right. If you change one thing, where do you end up? It's like one of the what is it? Going Back to the Future, the time
Yeah.
continuum.
Right.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add? Share with our audience? Any pearls of wisdom you want to instill?
I think you've harvested the pearls. I don't know that we have any more left.
I tell you guys, this has been a really good interview.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy life. I know, I mean, you guys running 3 schools, you got a lot of employees, you really got to happen out in Utah. And I just want to take a moment and say thank you for sharing your story with us. It's not easy talking about yourself. You're very humble people. So I know I had to squeeze to get that that information out of you. But I want to thank you for taking the time. And Carol and I are looking forward to coming to Utah in September.
Yeah.
We're going to be visiting all your schools. Being a Dynasty member, we get to do that, and we're so looking forward to getting there before the snow flies.
Yep.
Hopefully September,
Yeah.
we accomplish
Yeah,
that
no
mission.
guarantee.
Hopefully.
We may have you on skis, man. We'll see.
Carol, maybe. Carol, yeah, Carol would do it. Me, you're probably, unless you want to have a medical standing by, not advisable for me. I did ski once, but with my medical condition, it's not advisable for me to do that. But I did try it once. My mother kind of freaked out. I did it, but I did it anyway. And I was on skates once too. So I always try something once until I fall and break a leg, then I don't do it again. A
Just-
good airplane to jump out of or a zip line. Those are safe. I'll do those any day.
There you go.
Safe.
All right, guys. We'll see you in Jamaica in a couple months. Actually, we'll see you in September at your site visit. And again, thanks for coming on to the podcast today.
Thank you.
That was a great interview. I love them.
You too. They're funny. And they work so good together. You know, they're like us now, but I'm sure they've been probably doing this for quite a while, but they got things under control. They're in Utah, and they're right. There's some centers have to go through so much more regulatory burden than others. The hoops that they got to run to. And I know we have guys from clients in Chicago area that's 2 years to get licensed, and it's just crazy what you got to go through and the costs involved. And I've seen that in Miami. I've seen that in Chicago and New York. Just excess regulation. And I've seen some areas like us that you get licensed very quickly and not have hardly any regulatory. The more rural seems like the easier it is. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode. They are a great a great inspiration for everybody out there. If you ever want to be a multi-center owner, it's not easy, but it is very rewarding. So we hope you consider that. And if we could help you out in any way, just go to childcaregenius.com. We have a whole bunch of resources for you on our website. And if you'd like a free coaching call, if we could help you out, if you're a center owner, just go to the website, childcaregenius.com, go under the coaching tab and say, I'd like a free coaching call. And one of our certified coaches will reach out and help you in any area that you're struggling in. Just like Jess and Spencer said, that, coaching helps them think of things that they wouldn't think of before and helps them, moves them in a different direction and just makes them better. Yeah, it makes them better. And whether our coaching program is for you or not, that's not what we're trying to do here. We think everybody should need coaching, whether it's us, there's plenty of other great programs out there. Just find one and let them make you better than you are. And this concludes episode 93 of the Child Care Genius podcast. Thank you again. Spend some time with us today.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode of the Child Care Genius podcast. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Child Care Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Child Care Genius community.